inspiring countless people across history, breaking the repulsive racial frontier, and setting the stage for all in the film industry. The first, most important, and most influential Asian American movie star and fashion icon, Anna May Wong. Anna May Wong faced many challenges in order to become the first Asian American Hollywood movie star and cross the frontier in both acting and society. By persevering through the racism commonly shown by Americans in the 20th century, she paved the way to change how people viewed Asian Americans. In the 1840s, many hopefuls from all over the world, including China, came to the U.S. hoping to claim some gold from the California gold rush. By 1851, over 25,000 Chinese immigrants left China to pursue the Gold Mountain. When Chinese immigrants arrived in California, they found out that the Gold Mountain was a delusion. It was hard to sustain themselves and their families, let alone find any gold. This strenuous situation included language barriers and struggling to find work to do. Not only did they grapple to find work, but they were also facing violent attacks, persecution, murder, being forced out of business, being beaten, tortured, and more due to their skin color. And many of these crimes went unpunished. Exact statistics for this period are difficult to come by, but a case can be made that Chinese immigrants suffered worse treatment than any other group that came voluntarily to the U.S. While the Chinese immigrants were facing these harassments, many laws were enforced to target and limit their rights. The most notorious out of all the acts is the Chinese Exclusion Act, which stated that Chinese immigrants weren't allowed into the U.S. for 10 years and were unable to become citizens, making them permanent foreigners. No exclusion act has ever been passed in Congress against any other racial or ethnic group in the United States. The harassment and legalized segregation started places called Chinatowns, which are safe havens for the Chinese immigrants, a place for them to do business and eat familiar food. At the end of the century, many of these Chinatowns sprung up all around the U.S., and a network was formed across the continent. Anna May Wong was born in 1905 in the Chinatown area of Los Angeles, California, where her father owned a laundry shop. She was the second oldest child out of 8. Her name given at birth was Wang Yousong, which meant frosted yellow willows. Wong and her older sister, Lulu, attended California's Street Public Elementary School. They were often teased and bullied because of their skin color. Our schoolmates surrounded us. Some of them pulled our hair, which we wore in long braids down our backs. They shoved us off the sidewalks, pushing us this way and that, and all the time keeping up their chant, "Chink, chink, Chinaman, chink, Chinaman." When finally they had tired of tormenting us, we fled for home, and once in our mother's arms, we burst into bitter tears. I don't suppose either of us has cried so hard in our lives, before or since. After this, Wong's parents transferred them to the Chinese mission school in Chinatown. Growing up, Wong was always fascinated by movies and movie production, often skipping school to go watch movies being made in Chinatown. And then I would rush home and do the scenes I had witnessed before a mirror. I would register contempt, shame, reproach, joy, and anger. In 1919, Wong got her first movie role as an extra cast to carry a lantern in The Red Lantern. Wong carried on working as an extra in movies. Regardless of her parents' severe disapproval, in 1921 she dropped out of school to pursue her acting career. When she was 17, she landed her first lead role in The Toll of the Sea. Though this was her breakthrough role, Wong still only was cast into stereotypical Chinese roles. Tired of the constant discrimination in Hollywood, she moved to Europe, where she was a complete hit. She starred in many movies such as The Piccadilly and her first play, Circle of Chalk. People loved her all across Paris, Berlin, and London. When sound films arrived, Wong starred in her first talking film, The Flame of Love. In 1930, Wong returned to the U.S. once Paramount Studios promised her lead roles. Upon her return, she made her Broadway debut in On the Spot. Wong then appeared in one of her most famous films, Shanghai Express, with her friend Marlene Dietrich. After this movie, Wong decided to hire her own cinematographer and make her own film. In 1936, she spent a year filming her travels in China.
Although I've been to many, many places in the world, this first and only trip I made to China was the most meaningful.
When World War II broke out, Wong fundraised for the United China Relief by auctioning off her costumes and giving her salary from 2 movies, Bombs Over Burma and Lady from Chongqing. In her final acting years from 1951 to 1960, Wong performed on television and was set to star in the movie version of Flower Drum Song when she died. Wong died on February 3, 1961 of a heart attack. Even during Wong's stardom, she still faced race-related maltreatment. There were 3 rules set for Anime Wong that guided her career in Hollywood. The first one was that she could not kiss on screen. She was denied countless lead roles because of this. The second rule is that Wong had to die on screen. I died 1,000 deaths. That was the story of my film career. Most of the time I played in mystery and intrigue stories. They didn't know what to do with me at the end, so they killed me off. She was not exaggerating. According to Time magazine, Wong was buried alive in The Devil Dancer, fatally impaled on knives in Song, shot dead in Piccadilly, Daughter of the Dragon, and Lady from Chungking. She committed suicide in Shame and Drifting, High Tongue, Tiger Bay, Java Head, Limehouse Blues, and Dangerous to Know. The third rule was that although she would star in the film or movie, she would not be paid equally. In Daughter of the Dragon, though Wong was top billed, she only earned $6,000 compared to Olan's $12,000, though he was out of frame by 23 minutes. In Shanghai Express, though she starred in the film with Dietrich, she only got $6,000 compared to Dietrich's $78,166. Not only was the pay discriminatory, but she also had limited lead roles. I was so tired of the parts I had to play. There seems little for me in Hollywood because, rather than real Chinese, producers prefer Hungarians, Mexicans, American Indians for Chinese roles. Many directors hired actors of different races to use yellowface instead of using real Chinese actors to play lead Chinese roles. They taped their eyes, used makeup, and wore overemphasized costumes to portray East Asians. Furthermore, Wong was often characterized in stereotypical roles such as Dragon Lady, Madame Butterfly, and China Doll. Not only was she facing racism inside Hollywood, Wong was falsely arrested in Austria because the Vienna police confused her with another Chinese woman. There were many differing reactions to Anime Wong all around the world. When Wong was considered for the role of Olan in the 1937 movie The Good Earth, a Chinese government official told MGM, "Very bad. Whenever she appears in a movie, the newspapers print her picture with the caption, 'Anime loses face for China.'" Time magazine remarked that a local newspaper called Wong the female traitor to China, and a journal in Tianjin carried the headline, "Paramount uses Anime Wong to embarrass China again." Wong said, "It is a pretty sad situation to be rejected by the Chinese because I am too American." Though some people in China did not like Wong, Anime Wong was a sensation in European countries. The Los Angeles Times said, "The most popular American actress in England is Anime Wong," and the title of an article from the New York Times states, "Berlin praises Miss Wong." She was not overlooked in America either. In a newspaper article written by the Los Angeles Times, sorrow was expressed when she left for Europe. It seems to us the greatest pity in the world that Hollywood producers are going to let that uniquely talented young Oriental actress, Anime Wong, slip through their fingers. Wong was also described in New York Times as one of the few cinema luminaries able to convey poignant emotion with restraint. In 1934, the Mayfair Mannequin Society of New York even voted her as the world's best-dressed woman. Anime Wong impacted enormous people abroad. For my parents and their generation, Anime Wong was always an integral part of the family. Since she was the only female Chinese-American film actress in Hollywood who actually became world famous, she eventually became an icon to the people of Chinese North America. Not only was Wong a hit for Chinese Americans, Wong was an immediate attraction in Europe. Her impact on the public was immediate. People mocked her everywhere she went, making her forays into the city difficult. English girls tinted their face ivory with ochre color to get the Wong complexion. They cut their hairs with bangs in front to achieve the Wong haircut. Gorgeously embroidered coolie coats blossomed among the theater crowds in Piccadilly Circus. Anime Wong impacted people globally and broke the substandard frontier of Hollywood racism and inspired countless Asian Americans. Anime Wong paved the way for many full Asian American cast films and movies, such as Crazy Rich Asians, The Farewell, Better Luck Tomorrow, Parasite, and The Joy Luck Club. Wong is also the first Asian American woman to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Documentaries were made to honor Wong's story. Some examples are Asian Americans and Unladylike 2020 on PBS. Wong's character is also featured in the Netflix series Hollywood, with Michelle Krusiak playing as her. In addition, she received the special recognition of a Google Doodle on the 97th anniversary of The Toll of the Sea, her first lead role in Hollywood. Wong is also present in the quarters we use today, being the fifth coin in the American Woman Quarters program. No Asian American female film star has ever equaled her prolific career in film, stage, vaudeville, radio, and television. Even today, her legacy allows Asian Americans to pursue their dreams without facing the same obstacles she faced.